Well, it's a new travel requirement 20 years in the making. Today, the Department of Homeland Security begins enforcement of real ID requirements at the nation's airports.
Karen Caifa joins us from Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport with a look at how it's going and what passengers can do if they miss that deadline. Good afternoon, Karen.
Good afternoon, Alex and Courtney. Today isn't the last day to obtain a real ID, but it is the first day that TSA is enforcing that requirement at the nation's airports. The good news was that coming into today, TSA said about 81% of travelers already have that compliant ID they needed to travel domestically. For the rest, there's still time to get one, and coming up in the summer, you probably should. New signage, new requirements for passengers at the nation's airports Wednesday.
We'll have staff in front of all our checkpoints to help and direct our customers as they transit through the security process.
After nearly 20 years of delays, airline travelers now need a state-issued ID or driver's license that complies with the nationwide standards recommended by the 9/11 Commission and signed into law in 2005. That means no matter where it was issued, that ID has a star in the upper right corner.
If it's not compliant, they may be diverted to a different line, have an extra step, but people will be allowed to fly.
Extra steps could include additional TSA screening and verification, even for those who use TSA PreCheck. The May 7th date prompting a rush nationwide from this busy Department of Motor Vehicles in Southern California Tuesday.
I completely forgot about the deadline.
To this massive line at this Real ID Supercenter in the Chicago Loop Wednesday. Travelers can still obtain real IDs beyond Wednesday. And while Katie Nasher of travel website Going says it's best to get one sooner rather than later, there are other options.
If you haven't traveled with a passport in quite a while, you might want to dust it off because people actually can use that as a form of real ID as they wait for an appointment or just in its place.
Other acceptable alternatives include a trusted traveler card like Global Entry, a Department of Defense ID, a permanent resident card, and a Veterans Health Identification card, among others. Bottom line, if you don't have that real ID just yet, you can still fly with another acceptable form of identification. And if you're thinking ahead to your summer travel, family trips with the kids, don't worry about them. TSA doesn't require identification for kids 18 and younger on domestic flights. Alex and Courtney.
And Karen, what's been the general scene at airports like Reagan National today as this new change takes effect?
It's been pretty smooth, Courtney. Some of that is a function of it being a random Wednesday in May, and some of it is that this rule has been 20 years in the making, so there's been plenty of time to prepare. Accounts from other parts of the country seem to be in line with that, from Philadelphia down to the world's busiest airport in Atlanta, where they had set up extra security checkpoints to accommodate people without the real ID, but didn't necessarily need all of them. Some states varied in just how many people across the board had those real IDs. Georgia and Florida was boasting 99% compliance, whereas states like Alabama were a little bit lower, around 30%. So it's going to vary depending on where you are in the country. But this could change as we get into the busy summer travel season, Memorial Day, July 4th. So again, if getting a real ID is not on your radar and you want to make smooth sailing through these security checkpoints, this is the time to check it off your list.
Well, we're glad things are running smoothly, Karen, and shout out to the young lady that was just dancing behind you. She had some nice moves there, Karen. Thank you.